power scaling and feats in anime, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball overall, it becomes a very heated topic. And well, not just for Dragon Ball, it became very heated when it came to Naruto and Sasuke. People love to compare Naruto and Sasuke power levels, as well as the Kunoichi, the Hokage, One Piece as well. It's like you got the Yonko power scaling, the the Admiral power scaling, the Shishibukai power scaling, the Worst Generation, the Straw Hat power scaling. So yeah, you get that on pretty much all anime. But obviously it becomes more heated with Dragon Ball because that's where power levels stem from. And if you go back in the day, and yes, I know DBZ is a totally different beast than DBS these days, but even so, it's like this really hierarchy really started with the fact that you just ignore the power level scaling and just went for the transformation power scaling. Because for the moment that Goku went for Super Saiyan for the first time, that was pretty much the measuring stick in anime when it comes to power scaling and power and feats. You got certain incidents recently that have triggered a lot of people. Now, I'm not one of those, but I do make it's a point to bring it up because I do think it's a problem that can be easily fixed, but also it's a problem that can be easily avoided as well. So on a Dragon Ball post, and I saw the comment, and this pretty much is why I'm in this discussion, because it seems like the recent heated back and forth about the power scaling about Super Saiyan Blue Goku, that's pretty much where this lies. It's like this really got messed up when we had the whole ass pull with future Trunks, with what happened at the end with him using the Genki Dama blade and him supposedly slicing up Zamasu, even though he didn't finish, his body was finished, but not his essence, because that's where Zeno-sama had to come in and fix the job and pretty much clean up that universe. So it's like, had that not been the case and Trunks had actually wiped out Zamasu, yeah, I think that would have been a much different. I think a lot more people would have been pissed about that. But so that's one way you can easily avoid a constant riot when it comes to Dragon Ball fans, when it comes to power scaling. And the reason that became a problem is because, okay, so Trunks at the beginning could not, even when he went into his new mode, could not do any damage in Super Saiyan Rose. That's a fact. So it's like, then later on, when Zamasu and Black Goku fused together, that automatically should have called out the bullshit and said Trunks technically should not have been stronger. Should not have been able to wipe out fuse Zamasu. Well, technically speaking, he was half immortal, so that part makes sense. However, using the Genki Dama blade, yeah, I think you can let that one go just on that basis alone. But the problem becomes the power of Trunks, because how is he able to utilize that power when you have? Here's the problem. It's like Goku. He managed to deal some damage to fuse Zamasu before he and Vegeta fused. Okay, when he used King Kai Fist and Kamehameha, he actually was responsible for mutating Zamasu. So it's like, by that logic alone, when Goku and Vegeta did fuse, and we had Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, you'd have thought that would have been it. That should have been it. And if that had been the case, it would have made sense, because no way can fuse Zamasu handle Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and I still don't think that's the case. So that's the reason why people get pissed, because Trunks did something that Goku and Vegeta couldn't do alone, nor together. So it's like, yeah, really? But it becomes a problem even to this day, because now you have the whole thing with ever since Goku asked for this tournament, and it's been challenging people left and right. And then just recently we had this sparring session with not only Gohan and Krillin, but also Goku and Krillin as well. Now this is where fans get really triggered. I'm not one of them. Again, I'm just pointing this out. Because you have it to where Krillin actually tries to force the ring out rules on Goku. So he uses Super Saiyan, but then he's forced to go Super Saiyan Blue. And a lot of people called that out because he should not have been able. it needed to go Super Saiyan Blue to fight Krillin. That's just straight up fact. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't make sense. You could have had him go to Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3. That would be more appropriate, I would have thought. Especially since Goku actually did the same thing for Trunks. When Goku actually sparred with Trunks, Goku went Super Saiyan 2 and then Super Saiyan 3. So he didn't even bother going Super Saiyan Blue. So it's like, okay, you can do that for Trunks, but you're forced to go Super Saiyan Blue. And granted, I know Goku and Krillin are best friends, so Krillin knows that Goku will hold back. So he's probably going to tell him not to hold back. So it's like, okay, so, but even still, he should not have been forced to go to Super Saiyan Blue. That's where the argument comes from. And not only that, the fact that Krillin was pushing a Super Saiyan Blue Goku Kamehameha back. Yeah. And just recently, the recent episode, we just had 17 make his return, and we had a fight between 17 and Goku. Once again, he didn't go Super Saiyan 2, he didn't go Super Saiyan 3. He went Super Saiyan, he went regular Super Saiyan. He realized that 17 was so strong that he had to go Super Saiyan Blue, which again I agree with. And the reason this becomes a problem is because it wasn't too long ago when we had the fight between Goku and Toppo from Universe 11. Remember how that ended? It kind of ended in a tie, more or less, because we had Goku powered up to Super Saiyan Blue against Toppo. Toppo did manage to withstand the Kamehameha. In fact, he was pissed because his armor got shredded. So had that gone on, we don't know how things would have turned out. And apparently, Toppo doesn't know either. And and this becomes the other part of the problem. The universe power scaling, the universe ranking system that we got now, that is because it's going to heat up a lot more topics. Universe 7 is the second from bottom when it comes to average level in the universe. Granted, it is morality level, but it still stems from power levels as well as probably I'm going to say morality speaking. That's pretty much how Zeno ranks these things. So from that logic alone, how can Goku match Toppo? But then again, maybe that's the problem. Maybe the linking is too much on power levels of power rankings, and that's where the arguments are coming from, instead of actually what we know Goku can do, judging it that way. So maybe that's part of the problem as well. But if that's a problem, that's no part of the fault. They came up with that concept themselves, so it's like they kind of brought up this problem anyway. So by that logic alone, and not only was 17 holding his own against Super Saiyan Blue Goku, he was holding back, and so was Goku. It's like, yes, we know, but at the same time, it's like, okay, last week kind of made more sense because you had Goku base form be beat by Super Buu or Margin, but I'm going to call him Super Buu because he looks dead like him. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it is in base form, so yeah, that made sense. And this being forced to go Super Saiyan Blue when he could have easily gone Super Saiyan 3. Okay, the more you do this, and the more people that should not be able to match up to Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan do match up to him. And I agree with what Soy 7 Mage said in his review. He says the more you do that, the less relevant the Super Saiyan Blue actually becomes. So, and it looks like that's the route we're headed on. So, there's two ways you can there's two ways this could be fixed, and there's other ways it could have been avoided. Number one, not have Goku go Super Saiyan Blue in the first place, unless it comes into a top tier fight. That's the way you avoid it, because it warrants the threat even higher if Goku doesn't go Super Saiyan Blue half the time. But now that he does, it's become less relevant with each episode. So it's like, okay, but there's two other ways you can actually rectify this, and the 31 hours and I believe 40 minutes before the Tournament of Power actually begins. Now I know time limit doesn't really have consequence in Dragon Ball. That's probably going to turn into 5 episodes. I get that, but even so, there's still time for Goku once he recruits his team did get some training in. Question is, will there be enough training? I don't think so. Because that's exactly what happened before the Cell games. Because Goku actually spent his time relaxing than he did training, because he was confident that Gohan could handle it. But that's a different topic. But that's kind of how Goku was treating this, even though he did kind of ask 17 to join, and he was forced to tell him the truth about the universe being erased. Should they lose? So it's like, okay, Goku wasn't taking this seriously at all, and I still don't think he's taking this seriously, because if 17 didn't want to join, which we know he will, but it's like at the same time, Goku should be focused on training just as much as recruiting. So it's like, I'm curious. We haven't seen Vegeta. I don't know if he's going to be training now because he was waiting for Brass to be born, but now she's born. Vegeta can train all he wants. And if it comes, at first I thought, okay, so this is going to probably turn into like Goku pulling ahead of Vegeta, because he's facing these top tier fighters. But now it's a case of Vegeta might actually get ahead of Goku because he could train before Goku does. So it becomes an interesting dynamic. However, it still becomes a problem, because if 17 was able to withstand Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and not only that, but hold back. And yes, I do agree with the fact that as artificially modified humans, maybe 17 and 18 don't have power levels. They don't. But at the same time, you still have to add some logic in your storytelling. So it's like, at the same time, by that logic alone, we're meant to believe that 17 can handle a member of Universe 11, Toppo, because Goku was able to withstand Toppo, and he's one of the strongest universes out there. And not to rehash the whole thing, had this gone on, I don't know how things would have turned out. And then we had, but he said, it might be a different story if Jiren was the one to fight Goku. And Goku versus Jiren, I don't know how that's going to turn out. I really don't. We don't really know what Jiren is capable of. The only hints we got are in the opening. And the fact that he's training, we see this red aura. So, and apparently all members of the Pride Troopers have that. So that's the only thing we have to know that they have in common. We don't know next to nothing about what he can do. So, until we find out, you can't give us this disbelief that 17 may actually be able to tank this dude from Universe 11, because he's pretty much on par with Goku and Vegeta. Now, the other way you can fix this, and this is probably the most obvious, is like Goku is either going to go stronger by training before the tournament, or he's going to burst through his limits once again, and he's going to reach a new mode in God form. That's the most likely, and that may be the reason why they're doing this, to building us up for that new mode. That's one of the reasons you could avoid this. And the third, and this is the least likely to happen, but it's still a possibility, and that's have Goku and Vegeta when it comes to nut cutting time, and the fighter count gets lowered to like 10, the last 10 of each universes. Then you can have like Goku and Vegeta pull a fusion technique, not a fusion with Potara because the weapons aren't allowed, and have them go into a fusion technique. And even though that's impossible, have Gogeta versus the final, because remember the universe is at stake. So, and the fact that Vegeta was so concerned about being there for Bra's birth or Bulla's birth, I can see Vegeta putting away his pride for that. We've seen it before, but the fusion technique is filler. So when it comes to like Gogeta, so I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that is another way you can avoid that without having to add a new mode in Dragon Ball Super. So, but those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Do you agree with anything I just said? Do you think it makes sense? Do you think there's actually going to be a new mode? Do you think there's a chance we could possibly get a fusion technique between Goku and Vegeta? So post your comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. That's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, comment, rate, subscribe for more Dragon Ball Super. Catch you guys later. Bye.